So let's move on to what exactly we're going to be talking about today. The first thing I wanted to say is thank you for joining us. Like I said at the beginning, we're really excited to kind of launch SYNAXON Managed Services in the UK. And this is the first webinar that we're doing. It won't be the last, that we can promise you. But today the idea is that we're going to break down some of the jargon around break, fix and managed services. We're going to talk about what exactly managed services is and why it's the future. And also what you're going to need to do about it. Don't worry, we'll help you. That's what we're here for. So first of all, we've talked a little bit about our backgrounds, but why does that make us qualified to tell you, you should listen to us. We know what we're talking about. So basically, if any of these points seem familiar, we know it's tough out there. We know that a lot of customers out there have ancient infrastructure, talking about the NHS or other people who seem to be stuck in the dark ages and who don't want to switch. If the footfall is not what it used to be in your repair shop, if you have skills issues amongst your staff, if everybody wants a piece of you, and we all know what that feels like. If you might have invested in tools for your business previously, thinking, these tools are really going to help me, but you've not had the time, or you didn't know where the hell you should start with these tools, because there was no one kind of helping you along. And your pesky bank manager makes your life more difficult every time you see him because he wants to see that monthly recurring revenue. If any of these sound familiar, we think you've come to the right place. And we want to talk through today about basically how we can help you get over some of these hurdles. So looking at all these kind of pain points, wouldn't it be better if there was another way? And I think if you're sitting in this webinar, if you're attending this webinar, you probably know there is, you're just maybe not sure what it is. I'm sure everybody knows, there are other business models out there that have got to be better than sitting around waiting for the phone to ring, or worse. Yeah, so you're trying to serve all your customers. The customers who are shouting the loudest are the ones who are getting priority treatment, even though those customers who are getting priority treatment are not necessarily the ones who are making you the most money. They're not the ones who are the most profitable. So wouldn't it be nice if you could actually predict where your next check was going to come from? The next bank transfer, let's not be stuck in the 90s. Wouldn't it be nice if you were not worrying about the amount of footfall you had in your shop, or how many times the phone rings? Wouldn't it be nice if you could do more with the team that you've got? Presumably you guys out there who've got a team of people who are working for you, you've picked that team, that team of people, they're working hard, they're super stressed out, they're a great team. But wouldn't it be nice if there was a way that you could serve 2 or 5 or 10 or even more customers all at once and invoice them accordingly, rather than, here's one customer, bill it, here's another customer, bill it. That you didn't have to drive out to a customer to repair his laptop, but rather do all this stuff remotely so that you have time to focus on other things. And when I say other things, I'm talking about things like, selling more to your existing customers. I think we all know it's proven some of the biggest costs to a business are the costs that go along with acquiring new customers, costs like marketing and sales. And it's a far more productive and less expensive thing to do to sell to your existing customers than acquire new ones. So there must be a better way. So let's just recap this model that we're talking about, all these kind of pain points that I've just mentioned. This is what we refer to as the break fix service provider. So I give you my time, you pay me your money. But I mean, there are clear disadvantages to that. So your customers having issues is what is running your business. And like I mentioned before, the ones that shout the loudest are the ones to first get noticed. This is clearly not a good way to run a business. How do you know if those customers are the ones generating the most money? And at the end of the day, these customers are the worst people to deal with. The loudest, shoutiest customers, are they people that you want to be spending time having to deal with? I think the word reactive is really key here. You're reacting to situations instead of being able to address them proactively, which is a nightmare, because you have no time to plan your time, no ability to plan your resources, you have no control. I think this can only equal grey hair or pulling your hair out, no hair. So the other thing that's a real problem here is that the customer is responsible for the risk of his computer blowing up. But who gets the blame if it does? You do, as the service provider. You know, the customer is always going to come to you and say, you are the one who's supposed to be looking after my IT. You haven't done it. It's your fault. And what that also means is that you're only talking to your customers when they hate your guts, they're super stressed out, and they blame you for everything that's going wrong in their world, which clearly, if you want to try and sell them more stuff, you want to try and get them to upgrade their hardware, it's going to be a nightmare. So surely by now, after talking about all these things, we've convinced you, or I've convinced you, that it's time for a rethink. But how? How do we go about that? Jan, you're going to talk about it, right?
Of course. So let's have a look at the new world. As Rebecca already mentioned, you only talk to your customers when something is wrong about their IT. Wouldn't it be nice to talk to your customers about how great their IT is? And you can achieve this by offering managed services and even find new customers. Your customers you serve with managed services will be happier. And what do happy customers do? They talk about it. The word of mouth is a very powerful marketing and sales tool, but not only your customers will be happier, you as an MSP, as a managed service provider, have full control of when and where to fix problems. What does it mean? With the help of the right tool, you get insights into your customer's IT. These tools warn you if something goes wrong, and you can fix it proactively before something breaks. A hard drive is filling up, an antivirus has found a threat. With the help of the special tools, you can be warned and fix the problems when you want to, and not when your customer wants you to fix it. So let's talk about how to get there and profit from all these advantages managed services offers for you and your customers. Very close customer relationship, recurring monthly income, and an error-free IT on the customer side. But first, let's have a look at 5 different service levels. The first 3 service levels are probably very familiar to all of you. The first one is the reactive one, the fire brigade. In Germany, we call it IT Feuerwehr. Your customers only call you when something is broken. And that's not very fun. You have to rely on the customer's IT to break, and your income is not very predictable and very irregular. The second stage is the maintenance contract. A contract with a certain allotted time of service hours that you promise your customers. The advantage is you get a little bit of recurring income, but it often comes with a discount. Your customers pays for your readiness and the allotted time. So one party is always at a disadvantage. Either your customer has paid too much or you've done too much work. So on the one hand, these 2 service levels are based on time you spend with your customer. You can only write an invoice about the minutes you have been fixing the IT. And maybe about the travel cost. This means your income as well as the cost for your customer is highly unplannable. On the other hand, the responsibility for an error-free IT lies with your customer. And what does this mean? Your customer does not always know how to check his laptop, his IT infrastructure, or whatever. The worst case is that he might not even notice if something stops working. Which can cause a lot of drama and problems, as you can imagine, and as you already know, I guess. So let's have a look at the first proactive service level based on monitoring tools. These tools allow you to always have an eye on your customer's IT. So problems can be solved before the customer notices them. This is really valuable for your customer. And I think all of you know the situation. Your customer tells you that their backup or their antivirus or whatever did not run for a month, and you have to tell them that you cannot do anything about it. That's not a very pleasant conversation, I guess. And with the help of monitoring tools, you can prevent this by always checking in on your customer's IT. So what does this make a real managed service? A managed service is a clearly defined scope of services for which you as a service provider take the responsibility. You can compare it to Netflix. You pay a fixed amount of money every month to gain access to a whole lot of movies or series. Similar to your Netflix is your running managed antivirus. Your customers pay for a defined scope of services, in this case, an infrastructure free of viruses. And the masterclass of managed services is a managed workplace offer. Your customer gets hardware and the service flat rate at a monthly fixed price per device or per user. So this is a complete workplace, including hardware, software, and the service. As you can see, the last two service levels are based on real value you deliver. An error-free IT for a fixed amount of money per month. And you are responsible for an error-free IT. You take away the worries of your customers about their IT. So let's have a closer look about what managed services are. A managed service is a proactive service for which you take the responsibility, as I already said. And what services are included is agreed on in advance. In principle, the services are defined and recorded before the contract is closed. This service description is also called a service level agreement. On the basis of this SLA, service level agreement, your customer can evaluate the fulfillment as well as the quality of your service. The SLA lists what is included and what isn't. For example, you agreed on daily updates for your customer's workstations, which is basically a patch management, but you exclude the repair of if someone spills coffee over your customer's laptop. And your customer can easily relate to that. So what do you need to be able to offer managed services? Of course, every one of you knows what a price list is, but you also need a service description in which is described what services you are responsible for, and the SLAs, the service level agreement, which clearly shows the customers when and how you offer your services. For example, at what times your customers can reach out to you by phone for support. And last but not least, you need the right tools and know how to use them to be efficient. For example, a monitoring software which offers a patch management, a ticketing software, or a remote maintenance software for solving problems from a distance. So the bottom line is, basically your customers pays for a fixed monthly price for an error-free IT with the help of proactive service, SLAs, and the right tools you use. But Rebecca, let's say I'm an IT service provider. I've got a feeling that my end customers are not going to like this.
Oh no, well, they possibly won't initially. I think with end customers, you do have to help them along a little bit. End customers, they're fairly simple creatures. They want to send photos to grandma. They want to stream Netflix. They want to play games. They need to be able to do their homework because they've been sent home from school because of Corona. Or they're, typical teenager or in their early 20s. They've got an assignment due for college the next day, and they've been twiddling their thumbs for the last 2 weeks and putting it off. But today is the last day, and they absolutely need to get it done. And I need my laptop, and why is it broken? And these are also the kind of people who are going to call you. I think, if you work in IT in any capacity whatsoever, you're going to have heard things like, no, I didn't click on any links, but now I've got a red screen on my computer and it's popped up and it says I need to pay 400 Bitcoin, or all my data is going to be deleted. Or, I don't know what I clicked on, but it says all my files are encrypted, or my email inbox is full of squiggly lines. How could you let this happen? And I think if you explain to your end customers, to your private customers, that if you can offer them a service to prevent all of those kind of things from happening for about the price of a Netflix subscription or less than the price of a mobile phone contract, I think surely they're not gonna complain too much about paying you. Yeah.
Rebecca, I see your point, but what about my business customers? They are such penny pinchers.
Yeah, we all love our business customers, and don't complain about them too loud, because they've got ears and eyes everywhere. But I think your business customers certainly will be more kind of ready to be able to get their heads around this kind of model. But if you can, again, explain the benefits to them, if you need further ammunition to support some of your arguments, then I think it's good to have something up your sleeve. If we think about some of the business customers that you might have, whether it's doctor's surgeries or the local gym or the local hairdressers, I mean, these people, they don't know anything about IT. And to be honest, they don't really care either. They just want it to work so that they can get on with their jobs. And this is where you can step in, you can prove that, you are the IT expert, you and your team have the skills to be able to take on their IT tasks. And I think the last point, probably the most important, that your business customers will be paying a single fixed price every month with no surprises ever. And I think that is so powerful when you tell them that that you're giving them an ability to plan better. And this ability to plan is invaluable, of course, especially considering the current climate where nobody really knows what's going to be happening with their businesses from one day to the next. So, Jan, we've touched on some of the reasons why it might be a good idea to move from break-fix to managed services. Can you talk us through some of the key factors that are actually necessary in making this step?
Yes, of course. So first of all, it's efficiency. You only get paid a fixed amount of money every month, so you have to be efficient so that your managed service offer pays off. And this is closely related to automation. You and your technicians have to automate a lot of tasks. For example, a daily patch management can be done by the tools you use, or a restart is needed. Try to automate it. The third one is standardization. Just imagine using 10 different monitoring tools. You need to be trained on all of them. They needed to be set up. This is a real cost eater, Kostenfresser, we say in Germany. And let us consider the fact that you only have a fixed amount of money, and you want your tools to be simple as possible. And let's have a look at flexibility, which is one of the key factors. All of your customers have different needs. Some want a highly secure IT. Some just want to watch Netflix and send pictures to their grandmas. But you can convince every one of them with a very flexible design of your contracts. For example, a short cancellation period. And the last one is scalability. You need to make sure that you can provide your service for multiple amount of your customers at the same time. So these are the criteria you should apply to every of your managed services. You can flip these levers to increase your revenues and provide the best service possible. To achieve this, your internal processes must be very transparent, just because you want to optimize them in terms of efficiency and automation. So keep in mind, managed services cannot work without a clearly defined process.
Yeah, easy to get bogged down, right?
Okay. Yes, let's have a look at our offering, our SYNAXON managed service offerings. First of all, the idea, we want you to have an easy start with managed services. You don't need a very deep product knowledge. You can straightforward just roll out your managed services with us, in cooperation with us, with no complex configurations. All of our tools are already pre-configured. You can use our modules. You can use them from different from each other. So you already have a monitoring tool, but no antivirus solution. no problem, you can book these modules you need. For example, our monitoring and management, which includes sales reporting. You can see it generates reports to discover new sales opportunities for you and your team. E.g., for example, does your customer need new hardware or new software? And we take over the patch management for your customers' workstations. And if you want to stop your customers from moaning, what am I paying you for anyway? You can use our end customer reporting just to show them exactly what you have been doing to protect their computers, keep them safe from viruses. We deliver your own branded reports to your customers and in plain English. Or you can book our managed endpoint protection module, which is based on ESET to provide that extra little bit of protection for your customer. So the third point is we as SYNAXON Managed Services team behind you, our team of experts is responsible for the technology on the back end. We do workflows, for example, we increase the level of automation and therefore you can improve your productivity and efficiency. We take care of the dashboards, we do the monitoring and reporting for you. And last but not least, you only pay what you use. You can start with one monitoring agent, for example, and grow from there on. You don't need to pay a dashboard fee, or you don't have to pay for 20 licenses when you only use 2 of them. And we got a monthly cancellation period.
Great stuff. Thanks, Jan. So, well, we thought we were going to get around 30 minutes for this webinar. I think we've done a pretty good job of keeping to the time, Jan. So this is the concept of SYNAXON Managed Services. This is our offering. I hope we've been able to show you in the last 27 minutes how managed services can help you in your daily business, and how it's a really good idea. You need to start rethinking. If you're tearing your hair out every day, then it might be time for a rethink. It might be time for a change in business model, however scary that may seem. But I hope we've been able to show you that here at SYNAXON we are in a position to be able to help. We want to make it simple. We want to make it straightforward. We want to take away a lot of that stress. We want to help you with your scalability. And I hope with the presentation today we've been able to show you that it is possible if you have a great team behind you. So on that note, we'd like to open it up to questions. You guys are all muted. That's deliberate because of the size of the group today. But if you do have any questions, you can put them in the chat function. And now I've just got to work out how to open the chat function so that I can actually...
I can read them out. Jack already asked a lot of questions. For example, what are your technologies, vendors, etc. behind all these offerings? On the monitoring side, we work with SolarWinds, which is one of the top tier 1 RMM solutions. And on the endpoint protection module, we work with ESET in the background.
I think if I just add to that, Jan, if I may, I think a lot of people get a bit scared by remote monitoring and management tools, especially if they've not had a lot to do, or if they've had bad experiences with RMM tools in the past. In my previous life, I was at Autotask and Datto, so I know a fair bit about RMM tools, and we know that these tools can be hugely complex and actually quite overwhelming sometimes. And the idea behind our offering is that all the stuff that causes a lot of headaches, things like pre-configuring workflows, building dashboards, creating reports, that is the stuff that a lot of people really feel that they need technical know-how and they need resources within their company to be able to handle that. And the point behind SYNAXON Managed Services is that we do all that for you, so you don't have to. You can focus on running your business. We have the technology and the know-how and the experience to be able to kind of put that together for you to take the hard work out of doing it. So the next question, Jan, is do you have NOC? We knew this question was going to come up, didn't we?
Yes.
Short answer?
No. Long answer, Rebecca?
I think the long answer is we know there are vendors out there who do a much better job and who are pretty big and have already kind of they've already kind of taken over the market. I'm talking about the likes of Continuum, of InBay. So no, the answer is no, we don't. But there are companies out there in the UK who do a great job. So I can only recommend, if you want a knock, if that's what you're looking for, then you go and talk to them.
So Jack asked about costs.
Yeah, should we leave the cost till the end? Because there's a couple of other questions that I'd like to cover. We will cover costs at the end. First, if there's local UK-based support. Jan, you want to take that one?
Of course, but I would pass the answer to our lovely Nikki.
Is the lovely Nikki Foster, as she is in the Zoom. Hi.
Nikki, it's your
Hello,
chance to
good
introduce
morning.
yourself.
Good morning.
Hi, yeah, good morning, everyone. Yeah, so my name's Nikki Foster Saunders, whichever you wish to call me, as long as it's polite. So I will be taking care of all of our SMS accounts, and I will be looking after you going forward. So any needs, any requirements that you have, any questions, any concerns, I will be the one to liaise with. I'm sure a number of you that are on the video call have already met me. Lucky you. And then some new faces. So Jimmy, hi to you. I've never had the pleasure of meeting with yourself before. Matthew Belden, don't recognise your name. So yeah, it'll be myself that looks after you, and I look forward to working with you all should you come on board with us.
And just to expand on that, the technical support team all speak English, just if in case that wasn't clear. Question from Lee. Can you scale out to full network monitoring, reporting and security? Jan, do you want to take that one?
I hope I'll get your question right. The short answer is yes. You can monitor with our monitoring and management everything with it which communicates within a network. And for the security part, we got a managed antivirus integrated in our monitoring solution, and we offer our managed endpoint security for that extra little bit on top. Great.
In case we haven't understood your question, okay, good stuff. We have. He just wrote cheers in the chat box. Jack asks if we are offering a SOC. That's also fairly straightforward to answer. The short answer is no. Again, there are other vendors out there in the UK market who specialize in those kind of things. So no, that's not something that we'll be offering. Okay, before we move on to the cost structure, because that's something we definitely do want to talk about, are there any more questions relating to any other part of the offering that we're putting out there? I think if no, Jan, can you talk us through the cost structure?
Of course. So from the monitoring module, we start at £2.29 for monitoring a workstation and £2.99 for monitoring a server. There is, and Alan, that was your question, there is no onboarding fee. You don't need to pay a dashboard fee or whatever. You can start with just one license. For our managed endpoint security offering, we start at £1.30.
Great. Looks like the questions are starting to dry up, except for Lee, who just wrote does. I don't know if Lee is maybe struggling with the technology like I was this morning. Just give him 5 seconds to write his question. Here we go. Does the 229 endpoint cover antivirus as well? That's from Lee.
Yeah. The managed antivirus, which is included in the dashboard or integrated in the dashboard, costs £1 extra. Yeah, so you will end up at £3.29 for monitoring, patch management, and the antivirus.
Yeah, and just to recap, the antivirus, we actually offer through ESET. So SolarWinds is the vendor behind the RMM section, the monitoring part, and ESET is behind the antivirus. Just for everybody, it looks like that is all the questions. Just so everybody knows, we've recorded this webinar. So if you'd like to see the recording, we can get that sent out to you. If you'd like the price list, we can also send that out. Nikki can take care of that. We also have a couple of handouts available, which kind of list out the benefits of the offering that we have, and we can also send those out to you in a PDF. So if there aren't any more questions, please do us a favour, don't let this be wasted time. We appreciate that you took half an hour out of your day to watch the webinar. Have a think about what impact these kind of changes in a business model could have on your business, and also how we might be able to help. You know, we think we've got a good offering, a fairly unique offering in the UK market, and we're definitely going to be following up with you. We'll be calling you to get your feedback and take it from there. So if there's anything that you need from us in the meantime, whether that's price lists or more information about the vendors that we use, or the features and functionalities that we have in our offering, you can call Nikki, call the number that's on the screen, email us at sms@synaxon.co.uk. But otherwise, I just want to take the time to say thank you, everybody. Lots of love from Munich. And where are you, Jan? Somewhere that nobody's ever heard of?
I don't want to talk about it. In the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere, somewhere in northern Germany.
Yeah.
And Nikki, I think you're in Warrington, right?
I am sunny Warrington.
Sunny Warrington. Good. So let's call it a day, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.